Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 395, What Not to Worry About When You Change Your Drinking. Well, hello. Welcome back to the podcast and welcome to August of 2026. Wild. I am back from walking the Camino and I'm super happy to be home. So happy. And to be home in Portugal, where my home is. That actually just kind of hit me when I got back from walking. The next morning when I had my first cup of coffee, I was sitting there. I'm like, I'm home. I am home. This is it. I don't have to fly back to the US and be in two different places all the time. So there's so much I want to share about the Camino. And I just got back a few days ago, so I need some time to process that and get my thoughts in order and all the things. But it was amazing. We did 173 miles on foot, carrying all of our stuff. And it was an experience of a lifetime. So much beauty and the amazing people we met on the Camino and the animals and the nature and the little towns and villages and the oceans. And I mean, it really was a lifetime experience. And I will definitely be doing it again. And I want to really talk about some big moments on the Camino, but I need some more time to process that and to flesh out my thoughts around it all. And they say that the Camino actually starts after you get home. And so I'm excited to see how these next few weeks go about how things have changed for me in my life and in my day-to-day activities because of what I did on the Camino. So anyway, stay tuned for that. But another pressing topic keeps coming up, and it's today's podcast episode, which is the things that people worry about in the future when they change their relationship with alcohol. So this keeps coming up with a lot of my clients, but the real worries that people say and share with me are, you have a girls' trip or some sort of vacation that's already booked, or you have a partner who pours their drink at 6 p.m. and then automatically hands yours. You have a wedding to go to. You ask yourself if you're going to be boring. You wonder if your friends are going to stop calling you. What are you going to do at 5 o'clock for the rest of your life? What do you say when somebody asks why you're not drinking? Will your partner be weird about it? Do I have to only be the sober one? Do I have to be this person, the odd one out at every social gathering forever? And what if I lose this whoopee, this thing that actually relaxes me? So I'm sure a lot of you guys are resonating with these worries. And you might feel like a little anxiety coming in or a little drop in your stomach when you hear one of those things on that list. And that's just like, oh yeah, that's me, right? So these are all really good questions because you're actually very smart and responsible and you want to look ahead and try to understand what everything is going to look like. And so we want to tune into that because I talk a lot about managing your mind and feeling your feelings, right? But specifically this worry about what happens in the future is something to pay attention to. So every one of those questions is being answered by the person who is currently drinking. So you, in your current identity, with your current relationship with alcohol today. So you're the one today who has its current relationship with alcohol. You're the one imagining the wedding in the future or the summer trip or the weekend gathering or the holidays. And really, you're the only one that has that insight because it's you and it's your life. So if I were to take you today and drop you into that wedding 6 months from now, and nothing has changed except for maybe you're not having an alcohol drink in your hand, yes, that would be hard. You would feel exposed. You would be counting the minutes. You would be struggling, and you'd want to leave early, or you might even be given and actually drink. So the questions that you're asking about what this looks like in the future, how you're going to handle these things, is you're answering questions about somebody who actually doesn't exist yet. Okay, so stay with me. Removing alcohol is just a subtraction of a substance. Okay, if that's all we do, you have the same thoughts, the same feelings, the same operating system, one thing that's taken away. And so the people that do this work with me, that do the deeper work, who understand why they've been drinking, who learn how to process those feelings and change their identity, that woman in 6 months from now at that wedding or whatever that event is in the future that you're worried about, you are going to be a completely different person. Okay? It's not going to be the same thoughts and feelings and obstacles that you would have today. This is a really good analogy. Someone who's never trained, I just walked the Camino, right? So it's very fresh. But someone who's never trained what mile 20 of a marathon feels like would be worried about what mile 20 of a marathon feels like. But somebody who has trained for that mile 20 of a marathon is not worried, because it's a totally different experience, because they have been ready for it. Their body is ready for it, right? It could be hard, right? But it's not going to be the person who hasn't done any training. Totally different experience. The other thing is, I want to point out, and I actually just learned about this and doing a little bit of research for this episode, is this idea, this concept called focalism. So when you imagine a future event, whatever that is, it could be a week from now, it could be 6 months from now, you zoom in on the one thing that's different and you freeze everything else as exactly as it is today. Do you guys ever play that? It was like this social media game where you would like video and everybody would freeze doing exactly what they're doing. This is what this is like for me. Like, this is how I visualize it. So if you're doing that, you're freezing the scene of everyone playing this role exactly how it would be for today. You picture the champagne toast, the drink in everyone's hand, and you not having that fancy glass, or maybe you just had club soda or water. And in that picture, you are exactly the woman you are today. The same tolerance for a room full of people, same self-consciousness, same energy at 9 p.m., which is none. Same relationships, same friendships, exactly the shape that they're in right now. Same relationship with yourself. Okay, you changed the drink. Everything else is still frozen. Okay, it's still exactly the same. You're not picturing now, 6 months from now, you sleeping through the night, without having alcohol, or having extra energy for the dance floor without drinking, or what it's like to stop scanning the room to see who's paying attention to what, and the escaping with the alcohol and the regret that you might have with drinking too much, or any of that other stuff. Okay. Or the next morning when you wake up from the wedding and you remember everything and you were so proud of yourself. Your imagination now handed you this loss, right? You're the only one that's doing something different, and everything else is still the same. And it doesn't imagine everything that you could gain, because the gains have not happened yet. You are still the same person in this sort of focalization that you're thinking about. But you will be a different person at that wedding in 6 months from now, or whatever this big event is. Okay, so your brain just doesn't have any footage of that scene yet. And as you change and go through the process of changing really who you are and how you respond to your emotions, and becoming a different person who knows how to handle things without needing wine to cope, you become a different person. And these obstacles that you are worried about probably won't even exist this way. Okay? The other idea that I want to talk about in the same concept about the future that you might be worried about are our relationships. So the future you're afraid of requires everyone in your life, again, to stand perfectly still, right? Nobody else has changed in the story that you're telling yourself. You're the only one who has changed. But that's not really what happens. In the over 8 years that I'm doing this work with clients and within myself, when you change, the people around you actually change too. You change, and the system of your relationship kind of reorganizes itself. I like to think about this as like a decision tree. So you're making decisions, say today, not to drink. You tell your spouse, your partner, your husband, I'm not drinking tonight. I want to honor my commitment to myself and not drink. You share that with him. Okay, that's a decision that you've made not to drink, and then you share that decision with your partner. All of a sudden, partner says, you know what, I don't need to drink tonight either. Doesn't drink tonight. Okay, you guys connect, maybe you play some cards, maybe you have an interesting conversation about it. Something slightly shifts. Okay, you start walking down a different walkway, a different life path. Okay, this is like if you think about like a corporate decision tree or something like that. You're going down a different path because of the decision that you made tonight and who you're bringing in on that with. Okay, what you do for yourself in changing your relationship with alcohol obviously is connected to your relationships because we all have them and we all need them in our lives. Okay. A lot of people will support you. Most people will support you if you're open and honest about what you need and what is helpful. Right? You got to be willing to have those conversations. Most of the time, people support you. The worry that a lot of us have is what other people will say. Being judged, being the one who's different in the room, feeling left out. You might have some shame that you actually have this issue that you need to vocalize and connect with people about. All that stuff, okay? But when you go and do the work on why you're drinking and you start putting yourself at the top of your list and you start prioritizing your own well-being instead of putting everybody else's feelings and things first, things start to happen. Things start to shift within those relationships. And people will show up the way they're supposed to show up. And you'll be surprised. You know, where your brain is going now is to the worst case, right? You'll be outed. You'll be different. Your relationship with your husband will be changed. This is how you connect every night. You know, how are you going to handle all of these things? It's just like your brain trying to protect you. But your brain, again, does not know the version of you that is going to be happening a few months down the road. Some friendships do get a little bit quieter. You know, if you have a group of friends that are constantly going out to happy hour, you might not get invited to that. And that's okay. Because if you really, really think about some of those things, yeah, it sucks to not be included. Okay, I feel that way sometimes too. I'll see people gathering on Facebook or whatever, be like, there's a little moment of like, interesting. Why wasn't I included, right? But that lasts for about 30 seconds, if that, and then I move on. The truth is, I didn't want to be invited to happy hour. I don't want to go sit around with people who drink. It's not a good time for me. It's not because I feel like I need to drink. It's because I just don't enjoy that activity. I actually want to have open, clear conversations with people without a drug on board. I want to have meaningful, deep conversations, not superficial shit. When alcohol starts, be passed around, it's, people change and they act differently. I don't like that. So even though it stings for a second, I might not get invited to that. I actually probably wouldn't have wanted to go in the first place. So sometimes that will happen. Okay? It's okay. It's okay to change. It's okay that people want to do the same things that they always do. That's also okay, but you need to focus on you. Some relationships might have been held together by your shared relationship with alcohol. And really that's all that is information. You get to decide what you want to do with that when the time comes. But right now, if that's not the case, it's really not something that you need to worry about because as the theme of this podcast is, as you go through this process and you change from the inside out, your energy changes, your conversations change, your decisions change. And so you start walking down a different path, a different one that exists right now. Okay? And your obstacles will be different than what you think they are. And your life will open up in a way that you can't even imagine. Like, I'm a perfect example of that. I'm literally sitting in my living room in Lisbon, Portugal. How did I get here? I would love to create a decision tree on that one. Okay, starting with my decision that I did not want to drink alcohol anymore. Never had I, back 8 years ago, I did not think. I mean, my husband and I had this loose dream of we'd love to live abroad, blah, blah, blah. I didn't really think it would happen. And even 5 years ago, I was like, I don't want to do that right now. I need to change that goal with ourselves. And we had to work through that. And then it ended up working out. Anyway, was not in my decision tree map that happened for me when I was a child. That was maybe laid out for me, or even in my 30s, early 40s. It was not something that was on the horizon for me. And neither was the magic house. Neither was this business. Okay. So you don't know what's going to happen. You really don't. And I want you to allow yourself to be surprised and delighted and not get caught up in some of these worries that really are from a person who hasn't done these changes yet. Okay. If nothing changes, if you don't do the internal work, if you don't work on this stuff and understand why you're drinking in the first place and address that, then you will be the same person. Okay. And these obstacles will still be there. But if you do the work to change who you are, you will make new decisions. You will open up with your friendships more, and you will see a different energy and feeling to your life and have different experiences than what you can possibly see right now. Okay. It's kind of like if you've ever done dry January or sober October or 2 weeks in February, and you just kind of like get through that month. And it's hard. You're counting days. You might be white knuckling. You might be thinking about alcohol the whole time. That's what you're thinking that the rest of your life is going to be like. But it's the only experience that you have. And so, of course, your brain is going to deduce that that's what it's going to be like forever. Okay? Your brain's like a computer. It runs past data and experiences to make conclusions about what the future is going to look like. And it's just wrong. Okay? Maybe not everything, but most of that story and obstacles that you think will happen are wrong. Just look at anything else. Like if you've ever been worried about something, it could be anything. I wonder if this is going to happen, or what if this goes wrong? And then you get into it and you're like, oh my gosh, I was worried for nothing. I overthought that, right? Our brain does not do a good job of projecting what's actually going to happen because we really don't know. There's so many other things that we can't control, first of all, other people being a big factor of that. So the version of you that has figured out why you're drinking and has healed some of that stuff and done this internal work and knows how to be with their feelings and knows how to take care of themselves and knows how to live an alive AF life has not had any video footage yet. Okay. And so your brain is not going to tell you what that video is that's missing, but you can, right? You can decide what that might look like or what you hope it might look like instead of responding to the story that your brain is offering. All right. It's like, it happens all the time. I have a really good podcast episode. I interviewed a bunch of clients about their husbands who naturally cut their alcohol in half when they started doing this work. What you do influences other people in your life. Okay. And whether you do it quietly or whether you're sharing with people, our actions influence the people around us. And most of the time, the spouses, the husbands, the partners, kids, friends come on board with you. And they will make decisions to not drink because you're not drinking. And they will support you in this effort. But you got to share it. Okay? I don't want you worried about this stuff. Worrying about stuff in the future like this steals what's available for you to work on today. Okay? You don't have to figure it out. You really don't. You need to be working on the day that you are in. The obstacles that you have to face today, the urges that come at 5, 6 p.m., the obstacle of your husband pouring you a glass of wine before you even get home, the obstacle of your friend having a drink ordered for you when you show up at the restaurant, the obstacle of the friend having the glass of or drink poured for you as you arrive to the party. Those are the real things that are happening today that you need to navigate through. That's it. It's today's decision, today's evening, today's noticing what you're feeling right before you want that drink. Today's stop, notice, and process, remembering your goals. That's the assignment. That's always it. It's always focusing on the obstacle that you're in and remembering your tools and using everything that you've known so far, and to not worry so much about that future. It's a distraction, and it really doesn't deserve a whole lot of attention from you and wasted energy on that, I promise. If you just focus on the day that you're in and the obstacles that you need to figure out today, doing that for 6 months, not being perfect even, you are not going to have these obstacles to be worried about, I promise. I see it every single day. It happens with me in my life every single day. It just isn't worth your precious, precious thoughts and feelings. Okay? That future that you're worried about, it doesn't exist yet, but you get to create that today by the decisions that you make today. Imagine a new decision tree. Maybe even sketch something out for you. Like if you like visualizations, what does that look like? Imagine that instead of the story, the version of you who exists today as that same person 6 months from now. Okay, friends, you got this. If you want to work with me on a deeper level, we are accepting applications for the next cohort of the transformation program, which is 6 months of working with me in a very small group of women every week. Everybody gets coached, cameras on, no hiding. We work through materials together, and then we gather at the Magic House in Lisbon, Portugal to bring it all together and do this work in person. So if you want to do that with me at the next cohort, which will be starting this fall, I'll put the link in the show notes. Go check it out, get your applications in. All right, my friends, I believe in you, believe in yourself. You got this.